Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, one sec. Hello? 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 Okay, wow. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, everybody, I want to welcome you to this class. Okay, my name in English is Robert Johansson. Okay, Robert Johansson. And my Chinese name, like you know, is Zhou Ruohan. Okay, 蒙周公的周，弱色的弱，汉人汉堡的汉。Okay. And so I want to welcome our international students for coming to this class. And for our international students who are watching us from overseas, I won't speak as much Chinese or Taiwanese, although I want to, because I love Taiwan. I love speaking Chinese, and I spent a lot of time learning your language. But if you're watching this from overseas, don't worry, you'll be able to come here after the quarantine is over. Okay, I just want to thank you for coming to this class, and thank you. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. You know, we're happy. We need more students in this class. 这你要坐前面，对，你坐前面呢，这你坐前面呢，我就带你来哦。你来不来，我都不嗨哦。来这里吼，不来了开不了班。对呀，你不来我不开不了班呢。Okay, so basically, my name is Zhou Ruohan, but you can call me Coach, okay? And why do I want you to call me Coach? Because I'm here to make your life better, I think. My goal is to be your coach. And a big part of this class is going to be improvement. And for you to find a way you can improve yourself. Because I've had a lot of classes before, and a lot of times we just did what the teacher wanted to do. But I like to direct my students in a way that helps them improve themselves for what they need improvement with, okay? And that's why 1/10 of this grade, of the grade for this class, is going to be something you personally need to do to improve. And you're going to write it on Moodle, okay? My kohao, whatever, my slogan in teaching is Moodle. I'm the one professor who uses Moodle all the time. Moodle is my poodle, okay? I use Moodle all the time in every single class. Why? Can anybody tell me why? Without paper, we can say paper. That's one reason. We can say paper. 比较环保. And of course, 那个老板他们都很喜欢签 paper. But another reason is because you can learn 5 times, 10 times more from your classmates than you can learn from me. It's impossible for your English ever to be as good as mine. It's impossible. 不可能的代志，对吧？对吧？我怎样？ So it's impossible. Now we can either look at the impossible as being something good or something bad. I think it's something good. And so what I tell all my students is I say one phrase: perfection is for losers. If you want to do business, if you've ever done business, you know one thing. It's the product. Trying to make things perfect is a never-ending chasing of your tail. You're never going to ever have things perfect in life. Ever. Your life, your family, your relationship with your partner, your wife or husband or whoever, your job, your classes, nothing's going to be perfect. So just stop trying. And I want you to do the same thing with your English. Just don't worry about it. Just quit trying. Hey, 朋友来了. Hey. 你是 VIP 的，我们都在等你，等你来。这里哈 ，OK， 我就欢迎咖喱食材。OK， 谢谢你们。Okay, but so basically what I'm trying to say is that perfection is for losers. If you want to fail, try to be perfect, because you'll never start. You will never start. And you will always be waiting for the perfect time, the perfect thing. It's never going to happen. So I want you to use this philosophy in your English learning. You will make a better score from me in this class if your English is not that great, but you improve it. If your English is already good, then我图个啥教你们呢？对吧？ Okay, and so okay, so what I'm trying to say is that just embrace the idea that you're here to improve. I don't care how good your English is. It'll never be as good as mine. It's impossible. I don't care how good your vocabulary is. I don't care how good your pronunciation is. I don't care. Those are things I don't care about. What I care about is you improving. That's the only thing I want, is you to improve. Okay? If you don't improve in this class, then I failed in my mission. And it's not your fault, that's my fault. Okay? And so help me help you improve. Okay? And the best way to do that is to participate very actively on Moodle. I use Moodle all the time for my classes. And not only do I want you to answer the questions that I give you on Moodle, but comment to your classmates. Comment to them, right, about what they say. Now, one thing I thought about 3 weeks ago, when I wake up every morning and go running and exercise like a crazy man. At 6 o'clock, I go crazy. I exercise for an hour every morning like a crazy idiot, okay? And one day I was doing pull-ups, and I said, oh, I know, what's that? Yeah, I know, and then I forgot. And then the next time I was doing pull-ups, oh crap, what was I thinking? Oh my God, then the third day I finally remembered. We're gonna do this anonymous Moodle to where, I don't know, do you know each other's student numbers? But you know their English name and their Chinese name. Okay? Well, as a foreigner, as a Lawat, at the end of the semester, I know you as Bob, Jack, Sue, Billy, and then they say, hey, oh God, who is that? I've never heard of that person. Is that Bill or Steve or John or Jack? Okay? And so we don't really know what your names are because you have your Chinese name, your English name, your student number. So I realized what we'll do is you can use whatever name you want in class, but on Moodle, you can be your student number. Just don't tell anybody what your student number is. And so nobody really know who you are. And then you won't really lose face. Because we're all adults. I know some of you are like, what, 16? Are you 17? Does your mommy know you're outside, girls? Does your mom know you're outside? Don't sit so close to this guy. I'm just kidding, okay. Okay, so we know you. 你们都是我们的校花. Okay, 不是校花, 校花. 你们是校花. And we have our 小草. Okay. And so I know what I want you to do is I want you to just do the Moodle as if nobody knows who you are. And just don't worry about losing face, because as adults, the hardest thing we have as adults in learning language is we're afraid of losing face. And in this class, I guarantee you, the worse your English is, the lower level your English is, and the more improvement you make, the higher grade you'll get. And to be totally honest with you, my grades are usually pretty high anyway. Just because I fall in love with my students. I just love you guys. Because I love Taiwan. And I love what I'm doing. And I love my life. And so I love what I do. And it's really hard to give you a bad grade. It's really hard. And so what I do is I have this crazy attendance rule. You must miss one class. Yeah. You got it. Good job. He's a boss. He knows. That's a manager. 他都知道。我知道你在玩什么。对，丢啊，你礼拜哦。You have to miss one class. You must. Don't come one night. One night, call up your girl or your whoever, your guy or whatever, and say, hey, what are you doing? And say, oh, I don't know, I'm just here at home waiting for you to get out of your stupid class. 这是你专英文的，你去你上班的就是Assignment，这是EMBA 的，都是你害我的。So, honey, I'm going to pick you up in a minute. We're going out to dinner. Oh, 真的吗? Right? And you can invite your 水波 or whatever your handsome guy or your whoever, you can invite them out to dinner. And while you're eating, you can just think, I don't have to listen to Joe Rohan for 3 hours. I'm so happy, okay? And so one time you have to miss the class. That's a requirement. They're probably going to fire me for doing this, but I don't care. The second time, it's not good to miss. The third time, we won't give you a grade. Okay? Now, of course, you're adults, and so I can't really be that in with you guys because you have jobs and you have families and stuff. So, but I just want to say it, okay? We'll work it out, okay? Because it really 不要翘课，就是你可以翘一堂课，可是第二堂课我们会有点紧张，第三个他会很紧张 ，Anson 会很紧张。We have to 5 grades gaining, okay? And so just don't miss many classes if you can. If you have to, tell him. We'll understand. We're all adults, but just try not to. Okay. So, call me coach. Okay, call me coach. Not the bag, not the keychain. Call me coach. Okay, because that's my role at this university is to try to be the 教练, the life coach for a lot of people. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm better than you, and I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone. I'm just saying that's my identity that I try to do.
If I succeed, I'm happy. If I fail, well, I tried, okay? And so my job is to be your English coach. You're the one teacher you had, or maybe one of the teachers you had, who made you really want to learn English better, who taught you something really valuable, okay? Now maybe some of you are thinking, hey, 这个老外啊，我们是 EMBA 啊，有没有什麼 business experience, man? Yes, I do. I have 10 years of business experience, okay? And I can tell you that in a moment. But I know 10 years for, that makes some but I've had some really good and really bad experiences doing business, okay? And we'll talk about that later. Okay, so I really believe that the future of the world is in Taiwan, especially Asia, and especially Taiwan. Because I really believe, and I know some of you may be from other countries, and of course the people in the video, you're from other countries, and I'm not trying to say you're not as good, whatever. I'm just saying that as a native speaker, I'm from a small country south of Canada, north of Mexico. Bigo. 我是德州来的。Okay, 我是德州。Okay, 我是德州来的。I'm from Texas. Okay. I'm from Austin.
Austin.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a house there, and the pipes just broke, and I'm out $3,500 for nothing. Oh, I wish I had Taiwan workers fix my house. Sorry, don't record this. Okay, so anyway, I'm from the United States, and I'm convinced that a long time ago, I was convinced that the future of the world is in Asia. And I went to, when I was young, I'm just going to tell you my story real quick. When I was 16, I was an exchange student to Germany. And we lived in Germany. I went to high school there for 1 year, and then studied there, and then I went to Chicago, to a place called Northwestern. 西北大学, 美国西北大学, Northwestern. Okay? And then at Northwestern, I studied on European history and German linguistics. Okay? I was really interested in German. And so then, when I graduated, this wonderful thing, Tiananmen, happened. Okay, 6月4号1989年. Don't know what that is, okay? But I don't want to talk politics in this class. If you're from China, I don't care. I love China too. I don't know anything about anybody here except for Anson. Okay, so you protect me, okay?
Okay.
I don't know anything about you, okay? But I love China, and I love Asia. I think in another life I was Asian, maybe Taiwanese, I don't know, because I love it here. And when I was graduating from Northwestern University, my TA is now a big professor at Shida, Lai Shouzhen. And anyway, he was my TA, my Chinese TA, because I took 1 year of Chinese. Because when I was living in Germany, I fell in love with these Chinese guys living in the dormitory. I was like, oh, these so tired of these white people. I want to learn these Chinese guys. They're so cool. And so I started learning Chinese. And then when I went back to Northwestern, the senior year, the last year, I was like, forget this German stuff, man. I'm going to Asia because these guys know what they're doing. And so then my last year at Northwestern, I took 1 year of Chinese. And if you've ever heard about American education, 1 year at the University of Chinese was so bad. I came here, ni hao, ni hao ma. Right? It was so bad. It was so bad. And so what I learned was that, oh my God, I didn't learn any Chinese at all. And I was sitting there watching Taiwan Hua. This is 1989年，我在看电视，那个旁边的小姐她说：“哎，what are you going? You're not learning Chinese. This is Taiwanese. What are you doing? 你们老外都一样，你以为中文是台湾话 ？What are you doing?” So basically, I learned how to distinguish Taiwanese from Chinese, and I became fascinated with Taiwanese language. Just crazy fascinated. So then what I did is I met somebody, and they said, "Hey, you're never going to do anything in Asia if you don't have a degree, because Asians need degrees, especially Taiwan." Because there's so many Taiwanese overseas. And so I said, okay, I'll go back. And so then, luckily, I went to Harvard University to study East Asian Studies, where I studied Taiwan history, and I studied Wen, and I studied German-Chinese relations. And then after Harvard, I was like, oh, this is great, I can go back to Taiwan. And then my dad's like, dude, you're going to go back to Taiwan and teach Wen? Are you crazy? And I was like, I don't know, Dad. He said, let me tell you, got to come back to Austin. So I went back to Austin, and I got my second master's and my PhD teaching Taiwanese people how to learn English. Okay, so I got a PhD in this field, so I should be able to teach you a little bit, I hope. Okay, and so anyway, long story short, when I graduated from my PhD, I went to 国立台湾花莲东华大学在花莲 to make it 语言中心, and I was there for 4 years, and then 挖墙脚到这里 I got pulled over here to 台科大2005年 I was here. Okay, 因为那时候我们没有国际事务处，没有那个国际中心, so I helped other teachers. The Taiwanese did most of the work, by the way, but just I was the 怪个老外在那边在开会，就是我同意，我不同意。Okay, actually I did a lot of work, and so I helped make the international office 2006年. Okay, so I helped make the international office, and the former president, who is one of my favorite people in the world, Liao, the former president. Yeah, CJ Liao, he and I would go all over and sign MOUs with university, because 我跟你讲那个廖之前 there was not many foreigners here. We had not many relationships at all. He's done magic for this university, and I'm really serious about that. We've had the great. Come in. Go ahead.
他不敢。
这个人好帅啊！你坐前面的帅哥。你坐我的旁边。你坐前面的。Okay, 我不要讲太多. I don't want to talk too much, but I'm just telling you, President Liao and this business school, in this school you're in, has done so much for this university, and especially Liu Dayang is also Liu Dayang. Those are my, and Joe, the Dean Joe. I don't know him very well because when I was here before, I didn't know him. Maybe he was here, but I didn't know him very well. But he brought me here back to the business school, and I just 15 years ago, 15年前，我站在这里叫 EMBA， 对，很久以前，对，你们还没有出生。Thank you. Bring it in, brother. That's right. 他还没有出生。Okay. And so basically, I was here teaching EMBA with Liu Dayang, and I was going all over with the president. And I'm not trying to say I'm so great, all this, whatever, but I just want to thank you guys as representatives of the business school for letting me come home, because I spent a lot of nights teaching the EMBA before. Now I've also been in the 应用外文系, and they've been really good with me. And this university is a wonderful university. And I told my friends before, they said, 台科大是什么没什么了不起. I said, what are you going on? This university is going to become the best in Taiwan, and it is. It's going to be the best, and it already is. It's gone way up. And so you guys are in the right place. The people from across the street, the other universities in the south, whatever, they don't have what we have. And that's why I came back, because I left I'm not supposed to talk about this too much, but about 10 years ago I left, and I went to China to open up language schools, kindergartens, 培训中心, and just do a lot of cool things. And I did a lot of things in that 10 years. And because of that 10 years of experience, 我有资格 to stand in front of you. Because 15 years ago, I didn't know much about business. I'd never done it. I knew a little bit, I'd done a little bit. But I've really been in the situation that you guys are in with your job. And I know your time's very valuable. And so I want to thank you for taking this class. And I can promise you I'm not going to waste your time, because I know you're tired. And I know you're just doing all this stuff, and it's just, it's so hard to go to school at night. You work so hard, you come home, 被骂了。你要在上课，你那么了不起哦，那个大概讲得好吗？I know, I've been there. I've done this before. I know your feeling. But just know that in this class, I'm going to help you improve, okay? That's my goal and my mission. And usually I do what I try to do. So let's talk about this. Okay. What does this mean? Who can translate this? 谁会？我记得，给阿汉翻译之类。What's this?
No matter how old we are, we always are children.
Exactly. I love it. Very good. That's very good. No, because let me tell you, I'm gonna. My job is a boot camp, okay? And Anson, 你可以帮我，就是有的时候我讲，你可以帮我 write it down because sometimes things come out. 有那些东西会冒出来，我觉得非常的好用。我教那个白天的小朋友这些。I always tell them this. I say one thing. Teachers, I've been a teacher a long time. A long time. My father's a professor. My father's a professor at the University of Texas at Austin. He's been at the university, the 法律系. His name is Stanley Johansson. He's been there for 56年, 58年, 好像57年. He's the professor who still is the longest professor to be there. He's 88岁. And he's been at the University of Texas at Austin for 57 years. And he makes so much more money now than he ever did because but I learned a lot from my father how to be a professor because I used to watch his classes. And he taught me a lot of things. And he said, let me tell you something, boy. I'm not trying to look at you, but it adds emphasis. Let me tell you something, boy. Professors ask 3 questions. Easy. And I said, okay, easy. Medium. Impossible. And so my father said, listen to me, boy. When your professor even starts to ask a question, raise your hand. Because it's a numbers game. The professor can't call on everybody. And professors are like dogs. We're like dogs. We follow the pack. And so all you have to do, for example, I will not call on you for the rest of the night because you won. And that's something called cognitive dissonance. Do you know cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance, do you know what this is? This is the rule of psychology. Do you know what this is? You probably know better than me. My idea of cognitive dissonance is that, okay, you've already convinced me that you're a good student. And so you could literally just jump on the table and just start dancing and start yelling and screaming, get out some whiskey and start doing karaoke. And I said,没关系, right? And the reason is because he's kind of already brainwashed me into thinking he's going to answer the question, right? And so my father always told me, he said, there's 3 questions your professors will ask. Easy, medium, impossible. So always raise your hand at the first one because it's always the stupidest, easiest question. And if you can convince your teacher that you're there, like you did, okay? Yeah. If you can convince your teacher you're there mentally, then you can just rest for the rest of the night. It's just psychology. And it's the same thing in business. That's my experience. And so cognitive dissonance is the idea that once you're convinced that something's good, then it's really hard for you to convince yourself that it's not good. It's just the basic idea of business that I learned. And so if people see a product and they believe it's really good, it's going to take a lot of work for them to believe that it's not good. And so that's how to be a student, because there's many of you and only one teacher. So you just have to use psychology against the teacher, brainwash the teacher. The first question is always so easy and stupid, everybody knows. I mean, no offense. No, I'm not saying that. The first one, I mean, almost all of you could translate this. It's just he had the guts to try it. Okay? And so for the rest of the night, you can just say, you bunch of losers. I get to rest, okay? That's the idea of cognitive dissonance. And so not in this class, but in other classes too. When your teacher asks something, just raise your hand. Because if enough people raise their hand, you can't call on everybody, or she can't call on everybody. It's a numbers game, okay? So just try that in your next class, you'll see. Don't you have a next class from 9:30 to 12 o'clock tonight? No, I'm just joking, of course. You don't take 24-hour classes? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so cognitive dissonance is the idea that once you believe something, it's really hard to go the other way, okay? So this is my philosophy of life that I try to use as a teacher, as a student, as everything. And the idea of this is a great human is somebody who retains the heart of a newborn baby. Because what I learned doing business was that no matter what happens, I'm never going to be ready for what's going to hit me tomorrow. I walk into the office, somebody's died, somebody's quit. 城管来了，城管来了，you know 城管in 大陆城管，书记大来了，书记要过来。And somebody's going to come over, going to ask for some hongbao, some yada. Somebody's going to do something, and so you wake up in the morning just going, God, what kind of evil, horrible thing is going to happen today? And if you have this way of thinking, then you can really get through these incredible challenges that you're going to have at your job. Because you start to realize that you can survive no matter what if you have the right attitude. Okay? And so we're going to talk about these things. And I'm going to give you this course description right now. This is my course description. If you could please just pass it around. Anson, could you pass this around? Because Anson he's such a hardworking guy, and he's just sitting there going, I want to do something. Can you pass this out? Okay. Everybody says 50岁之后男生就一张嘴巴而已。So, 我没什么，他没有。Come on, man. Anson is such a hardworking guy, and I want to give him something to do. No, 有可能不够，如果不够 ，OK， 如果不够的话，你们搞不好就可以 share，OK， 因为我刚算好了，然后呢，今天刚才就有 extra students coming, so I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're here. 可以吗？可以分享吗？爸爸妈妈不是家里人可以分享，对。Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you for sharing. Sharing is caring. Like we said, sharing is caring. Okay. So, this is my course syllabus, okay? And the most important thing about this class that you're going to learn is things that I think you really need to know, okay, to improve yourself. And what I'm going to ask you for next week, if you could please give me a card. And you've seen this before, all the professors do this. The first, put your name, your Chinese name, English name if you have one. If you don't have an English name, that's cool too. 不要崇洋媚外，你要用中文的名字都可以了，都可以。Look, it's that home. Number 2, I want you to put your student number. That's important for grading. Okay, so English, your number, and then 3 and 4 and 5. It's just basically, 3 is basically if you want. I think I made a card about this. Excuse me. Yeah, 3 is basically like where are you from, where you work, if you want to share that with us. Okay. Next is how do you think I can help you in this class? iPhone 12. Rich man. Okay, how can I help you in this class? Next is, what's something interesting that I should know? Okay. What's something interesting that I should know about you, okay? Okay. What's something interesting I should know about you? And whatever you write is fine. I really don't care. I really don't mind that much what you say. It's just I want to remember who you are. Because you need to sell yourself to me, like I need to sell myself to you. And I need to sell myself to you so you'll feel that it's worth it coming to my class and I'm not just talking all the time and wasting your time. And you need to sell yourself to me so we can fulfill the teacher-student relationship and I'll give you a grade at the end of the semester. That's just the way the university works. And the truth is, my grades are usually pretty high because, like I said, I love the students. Okay? Excuse me. That's not bad. I don't know if that sounds okay. My grades are usually pretty high. But I really want you to seriously try to improve in this class and find something that you need help with. And just to show you, because I've been talking so much, I'm like, when is this guy going to shut up? Okay. Just to show you that I can teach you some cool stuff. I'm going to show you something that I made a lot of money teaching people. And you maybe know this, but I know you don't. What are the sounds English has, Chinese doesn't have? You know this? I'm not saying I'm rich because trust me, you guys have a million times much. I'm just a poor little American boy. I don't know nothing. I'm just a stupid Texas guy. But I helped employ a lot of people and build schools, whatever, on this information I'm teaching you. And this is just one of the small things. What are the sounds that Chinese doesn't have that English has? You don't know, do you? No one told you, did they? Well, you should know this. We call this first language interference. And by the way, you've had teachers 100 times better than me. I'm just going to give you my version of what I think is important, because the best teachers in the world are talking about my opinion. First language interference is 第一语言干扰, something like that. The interference. And so whenever you speak English with me, you're probably going to bring some Chinese into it. Just like when 我们说中文的时候，我们有的时候抓不到你们的思声, right? And you're like, gosh, this guy, whoa, okay? And so that's called first language interference. And the secret of learning a language is to figure out what you can do to get over this. And the first thing you can do is figure out what sounds does English have that Chinese doesn't have. Okay. The most important one is this. Ah. 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 Wow. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Ah. Ah. Yeah, you've had good teachers before. That's good. Okay. Ah. Okay, ready? Fat. Cat. Sat. Matt. Okay. Whenever I teach English or I train teachers, I say the first thing you need to tell somebody is open your mouth more. Because most people don't open their mouth at all when they speak English. The second thing you need to know is that speed kills. Speed kills. Speed kills. Because most people, when you're doing the driving test in America, they say, what kills more people? Alcohol or speed? It's speed. And I mean speed, not the drug. Speed. Speed kills. And it's the same thing with language. When we're learning a foreign language, we think that the smarter we speak, the faster we speak, the smarter we sound. But it's actually really wrong. The slower you speak, usually, the more people respect you. And so when I speak Chinese, I really try to speak slow. Because we think, oh, if I speak quickly, people will think I'm okay, they'll think I'm better, and then they will not notice my mistakes. But it's actually the opposite, okay? And since we all know that Taiwan and China, this part of the world, is going to take over the world anyway, and it's already happening. And so it's going to happen in the next 20, 30 years, which I predicted, so I'm very proud of this. And the West is going to fall away, Europe's going to get all this European Union community, all this stuff's not going to work, the migrants are going to come up. It's not going to work. And so we all know that Taiwan is in the center of the development of the world. And we all know, at least I know, that Taiwanese are probably the smartest people on the planet. And I know this because I've been here a long time, and I just know this. And so, what we need to do whenever we learn Chinese is to remember, and whenever we learn English, is to speak slower, to use more eye contact, control the room, and open your mouth more. Okay? That's the number one thing. Because when I was learning Chinese, I thought, gosh, these guys are crazy. And I talked to my teacher, I had a really beautiful classmate. I was talking to her and I said, you notice these Chinese people, the teacher never opens their mouth? Yeah. How do they do that? I mean, they never move their mouth. And I said, yeah. And because of that, I got to kind of, don't film this, but I got to know one of my beautiful classmates because it was some topic that we talked about. They said, this teacher never moves her mouth. "你想去哪里？我想去买东西啊。你谁啊？我昨天跟他了，我跟儿子去买东西啊，请他帮我去买水果、买水哦。那什么时候啊？就今天上课之前呢。Right? And so in Chinese, you don't really have to open your mouth that much. At least you don't have to move your mouth that much. That's my feeling. And that's why you guys are so much more beautiful than Western people. Because we have this ugly language. And that's why we have so many wrinkles and compared to you guys. And so the problem, though, is when you learn English,